Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
First, before we get started, because this is Veterans Day, how many veterans are in the crowd right now? I would just love to say thank you to our veterans and give them a round of applause. Thank you. So, on to the topic, the carrot. Is it? First, I should ask: has everybody who's heard of InstaCart? Great. How many of you have used InstaCart? Crap. Okay, so no surprise, we're still expanding. We're actually the largest in the online grocery space, and I'll get into a lot of detail there. What I'm going to walk you through today is I'm going to kind of give you a sense of how we became what we are, and I'm going to also give you a good sense of what I do for a living. So I'm the head of brand partnerships for InstaCart, and what that means is basically I'm the sales guy. So from that perspective, my job is to generate revenue for the company. So this company, for us and what we do, it's all about generating revenue. We do it both with retailers as well as with brands, and my world is brands. And I'll walk you through exactly how I deal with them and how we're expanding this business. By the way, I'm doing this on a Mac, for you people in the back there. And our entire company does everything on a Mac, just so you know. And I have an iPhone in my pocket. So my conversation with you is going to be about creating a winning e-commerce strategy, not only for us as a company, how we're doing it for retailers, as well as how we're doing it for brands. So let us disrupt. Does anybody know what this picture is? You don't have to answer it now because I'm going to bring it up at the end and kind of tie this whole presentation together. Take a look at this picture, and I'm going to ask you to guess what that is at the end. So the perception, we're referred to as the Uber of the online grocery space. Now, I own equity in this company, so I would love that market valuation, like Uber's, but we're only at $2 billion at the moment in time. But people refer to us as the Uber of this space because we have built this model based on the gig economy. Right? We have about 20,000 on-demand labor working for us, doing your shopping when you ask to have a basket filled by us. Now that's the perception of us. I don't want to say that we're Uber. I actually prefer to say this is our vision. We want to be the Nordstroms of the space. Many of you who have shopped us would know that we have that Nordstrom's mentality. Now I know Nordstrom's model well because I have a wife and 2 daughters, so I know how to use Nordstrom's very well. And I'm sure I'm wearing something from Nordstrom's right now. So the reason I like this comparison is for the simple fact that we believe in quality, service, and most importantly, our customers. Nordstrom's does this well, right? If you shop Nordstrom's, you know exactly how well they do things. They lead their industry. This is how we do it. In the online grocery space, the number one reason why people won't online grocery shop, does anybody know? It's because you don't want somebody picking your fruit and vegetables for you, right? It's like, I think it's going to come out crappy. You don't know how to pick a good avocado, so on and so forth. The number one category we sell, the number one and number two categories we sell are fresh fruit and fresh vegetables. And it wins by a landslide on our side. So when you become a loyalist to us because you know we know how to pick fresh fruit and vegetables, you constantly keep coming back to us. I'll get into more of that if my slide changes. Maybe it didn't see me. Now it's going to jump. Back help, please. Come on. I swear there's more slides. I want to turn. I'm just doing just fine. Hello? There we go. And here comes like 5 slides in a row.
Nice.
So what we do well is we attract millennials. Why is this important? Well, any of you in the space who are trying to find customers to shop for you, you know why this is important. And the fact that I just showed you the 2 logos of Uber and Nordstrom, we know why we target millennials very well. Think about millennials. Right now they're growing up in their world where they have their own personal chauffeur. and they have their own personal shopper with companies like myself. So with this, we do an incredible job of tracking millennials. We actually have over 60% of our audience who are millennials, 25 to 35, if you're wondering the age range there. We do this very well, and we do this very well for a number of reasons. This is what our audience is. It's busy parents, urban professionals, and of course you're doing online grocery shopping. So of course you're the head of your household. Whether it's you in a single 800 square foot apartment to 6 kids, you're the head of household decision maker on all the products that are going into your basket, which makes you incredibly valuable in the world that I live in. So why and how is it important to target millennials? Well, they think completely different. So this is the old shopper marketing. Has everybody heard of the 0 moment of truth? The first moment of truth was created by Procter & Gamble. First moment of truth, it actually means when you stand in a grocery store and you stare at a shelf. First moment of truth is you look at the products, you go, oh, I know what I want, and I go after it. Right? That's Procter & Gamble created it. 0 moment of truth was created by Google by stealing from Procter & Gamble. But what Google was all about was this. That linear line became a squiggly line. Right? Because now when you shop, you look at videos, you talk to your friends tell you how things are great.
True story.
True story, isn't it? So for us, we've built ourselves along this line. So we're at all these points of contact. And it's really important. Why? Because as we attract this audience, it's getting crowded. So we're one of the few companies that can say we're actually larger than Amazon Fresh. So we're not larger than Amazon, but we're larger than Amazon Fresh, which is not a bad thing to say, but they scare the crap out of me. So, because if Amazon wants to be big in our space, they absolutely can. I know those guys well. I'm constantly in fear of them, and I wake up in the middle of the night going, ah. So you may know all these people, but for us, right, it's how do we rise above the fray? How do we stand out above all of them? And I think we do it in a really cool way. If you've ever shopped with us, you know how in love you can be with us in terms of the time we save with you, as well as, most importantly, the value that we bring back to you. So now, why this business? Why did we build this? We built this because the size of the prize is massive, right? $700 billion in grocery alone in the U.S. Now, we're just in grocery now, but we plan to expand beyond that. So the value proposition there is, what piece of that pie do we want? Well, I know what piece of pie we want. We want as much of it as we can, right? So any part of a $700 billion business is probably a good business. But this is where it gets really interesting. So we have that first bubble is all about generating revenue through our retail partners. And then you have these things. So this is my world. This is where money is spent for that $700 billion. I kid you not, this is how much is spent. They actually go back and forth. These are $200 to $300 billion. To generate $700 billion worth of groceries, there's over $300 to $400 billion being spent by the brands alone to generate that $700 billion. Right? Yes, sir.
Could you read the slides, the dark ones? They're hard to read back.
Yeah, it's, sorry, the lighting. This is display advertising, search, and mobile.
The blue is the hardest tree.
Pardon me?
The blue one.
The blue.
Oh, the blue one is shopper marketing. If you're not familiar with shopper marketing, it's basically there's a team that sits in Bentonville, Arkansas. There's a team that sits in Minneapolis that works for Target or Walmart, or in Cincinnati with Kroger, et cetera, et cetera. There's a brand team that sits there for the brand. So Chobani has a team that sits in Bentonville. They have one that sits in Minneapolis. They have one that sits in Florida next to Publix, one at HEB in Texas. And their job is specifically to generate as much Chobani sales as humanly possible through that particular retailer. So they do it in a lot of different ways: coupons, promotions in store, shelf talkers, stickers on the floor, stickers on the freezer. That money is called shopper marketing money. And it's big. Now those dollars can only go towards that retailer. So they're only spent to promote HEB or to promote Target, and they have their own budgets. Trade promotion is the crazy stuff like slotting fees, coupons, other marketing stuff that happens. If you're not familiar with slotting fees, go to a Costco, walk in there, every single thing you see on the shelf pays to be on that shelf. right? They pay Costco, every single store, a flat fee to be on that shelf. Their pallets to sit on the floor before they even sell a unit. Groceries a crazy business, and we can go on and on, so I don't want to kill you. But everything is shifting to digital, and it's incredibly valuable. Change again. There we go. So who are we? Let's get into the model itself. That's our CEO of Corporate Meta, former Amazon engineer, figuring out logistics for how Amazon can speed up their delivery and service. Damn it! It jumped. Sorry. So stay there for a minute. Don't move. So we were at 170 employees, 11 offices. We're now 350 employees. We're in 28 offices now. So we're expanding fast. I was actually employee 172, as somebody asked me earlier. I'm actually 172. This is what we stand for, right? It's that whole Nordstrom's model. And if you don't know, and I'll walk you real quickly through the model. Grocery shop with us, you do your online grocery shopping, right? You do all your groceries. You're not building a shopping list, you're adding things to your basket. And we at InstaCart are walking through the aisles with you, helping you do your shopping. And then you place your order, you pay for it through us, you add your coupons, your free deliveries, all that good stuff. Then we go do the shopping. So if any of you get a chance, go to the Whole Foods right here. We're exclusive with Whole Foods. Go to the Whole Foods right here on Arroyo Parkway, a nice big beautiful one. Walk in the store, go look at the registers and tell me what you see on the farthest right register. It's an Instacart register. We're the only ones who shop on that register. We do so much volume for Whole Foods at their stores that we have our own freezer, refrigerator, and register at the front of their store. That's the volume we do. That's the relationship we've created. That's the value proposition we've created for them, and I'll get into that more in a second. But the beauty of it is you place your order, somebody gets it on their mobile app, and it says, "You ready to shop?" Yes. Now, the value proposition we've created for the consumer is also a value proposition we've created for the retailer, and that is that we've created a speed metrics for how fast we can do a grocery shopping trip and do it accurately for you. Meaning we have the stores mapped out, so when shopper starts at the front entrance of the store, our app knows where they are in the store. We know how to take them through the store without ever having to double back for a product. So they can get through it as efficiently as possible. We have a speed of 10 seconds an item selected and added into your basket. That's how fast we are. Shoppers love this because the more they shop, the more they make. So it's really important for us to make this as efficient as humanly possible. If you've shopped us, you know that while they're shopping, you know they're shopping. You can see them shopping. You can see them shopping and adding things to your basket. And if you want to add things to the basket while they're shopping, you can do that. If they find Chobani yogurt and you really wanted blueberry, but they don't have it, and you say, well, what flavors are there? We can take a picture of the Chobani section for you, send it to you and say, you pick the flavor. And we'll stand there and wait for you to select the flavor, grab the flavor you want, add it in the basket, or you say, forget it, I'm absolutely addicted to blueberry and nothing will suffice. We'll remove it from your basket and then you go on, right? So this is where we deliver your groceries. So you're shopping at Costco with us. You don't need a membership. If you're the person who buys all the supplies for this cross campus here, and you know you're gonna have to buy 8 cases of water and you really hate getting in your car and loading it up, call Instacart, we'll place the order, we'll carry the 8 cases of water to the kitchen here for you. That's the Instacart model. It's a beautiful one. I'm not being biased, although it sounds like I am. It's a really great one. So this is our model. We've created a grocery marketplace. So think about this. When's the last time you ever saw 2 grocery stores in the same complex, in the same shopping center? Never. They don't believe in that, right? They hate each other. They want to be as far away as humanly possible. Now, if you go on our mobile app, we've created a grocery marketplace where you can shop from Target to Whole Foods to Costco to Petco to H-E-B by simply swiping 1 or 2 inches left, right, down, and in turn, you're shopping in a new store. That's powerful. So think about you being in a shopping mall and we have 8 to 12 grocery selections sitting side by side next to each other and you can walk from one to the other, except this is a slide of your finger. That's our model. we've created a destination, and this is our grocery ecosystem, right? There's three big units here. We are a consumer-facing site, first and foremost. We are a destination for consumers to drive convenience for what they need, whether it's you buying your organic chicken breast at Whole Foods, buying your wine at Vaughn's, and getting your cases of water at Costco. You can do all of those while sitting on your couch. And in turn, we sit right smack dab in the middle of it. We have the crossover between all three. I'm the giant yellow bubble. That's basically me. And then I have my partners in crime who handle the retail. And our engineer and all the geniuses in our San Francisco office are the consumer-facing stuff, making sure that that motor's running. So this space is just the beginning, right? So if any of you know about the e-commerce space, it's, well, how big is it? Well, it actually, last year was 1% of total grocery spend was done in e-commerce, right? Online grocery shopping was 1% of it. What's interesting is it's going to be they think it's going to finish out at about 1.4% this year. This number I'm showing you is actually us. So Whole Foods is our partner. They have actually invested in us as well. We actually represent 5% of Whole Foods' total sales in store. Wow. 5%. That's huge. Wow. Some of our retailers, and we have 120 retail relationships, and some of them we actually do 15% of their total sales. So in terms of this space being, consumers grasping this, it's fast. And we believe when you see this, this year is going to be a major change for the industry, that you're going to really see a massive uptick in this space. So now into my world, our clients. So not only do we do well on our 120 retailers, but this is my life. So I've been to a lot of these offices. So my family and I fly for free for a long time now because I'm on a plane quite a lot. And we actually have, these are the top 10 CPG companies in the US and really the world. We partner with 9 of the 10. You're wondering which one is out? It's actually Kraft. Kraft there's some certain people that I'll refer to as Flintstones. Kraft is a Flintstone. Everybody else is a Jetson. And I will tell that to them when I'm in a room with them. Because they are. And they know they are. So, funny I should say that. It's who's ready for this space. Now, there's retailers and there's CPGs. They both have to embrace the e-commerce environment. Do you think there are more retailers or CPGs that do not have an e-commerce strategy? Talking about Flintstones. Anybody got a guess? Retailers, it's actually CPGs. CPG, about 13% of all CPGs do not have an e-commerce strategy yet. Only 8% of retailers don't. I use that as a weird negative number. I could have said it's 92%. But I like to point out that what knucklehead is not doing this. And there's some big retailers that still haven't grasped the space, and I'll leave them out because I want them as partners. But I don't mind taking shots at my CPG clients because then I can see what they're missing. So I'm gonna really want to let you guys see it, kind of a little insight on us. And so this is something I always talk to brands about. And I actually presented this at a digital grocery summit last week in Chicago, sitting in front of all our brands, basically 5 points that we think have helped us help brands and retailers become smart at developing a winning strategy. So number one is, I know your brand saying, and what's the time check? How much time do I have? Do you know?
Good. I got like 5 minutes.
Cool. All right. I'll fly. So I know where your brand stand. What do you think is the number one beverage we sell on Instacart?
Coke.
Think of a brand.
Coke.
Coke? I'm sorry?
Nestle Density.
It's actually
Smart water.
LaCroix.
Yay! No way.
Not only is it LaCroix, number two you got right, it's actually Coke. But LaCroix outsells Coke by more than double. That's a big deal. And what Coke says, and I was just at Coke's headquarters in Atlanta talking to these guys, and they said, well, listen, we don't really consider them a competitor. Can we Can you back them out? No, I can't. Here's why. When they're shopping on our site, it's so easy for them to go from Whole Foods to Target to a retailer that you shop at versus a retailer you don't get shopped at. Here's the deal. LaCroix sold at Target. LaCroix sold at Vons. LaCroix sold everywhere. It may not be a competitor to you, Coke, that you may not think, but you're wrong. Because in the beverage category, they're taking your share. PepsiCo is not. Right? So from that perspective, this is where we kind of open it up for brands to say, you got to rethink this space. Quit thinking that Dr. Pepper, Snapple, and Pepsi are your only competitors. You've got some really scary people that are coming in after you. And these guys invest more on us than Coca-Cola and Pepsi do combined. And they're now the #1 brand and killing them. Here's another example of the #1 overall brand we sell out of any category, Applegate. Who would have thought, right? You would have never guessed that, so I didn't bother asking you for guesses. Applegate. We sell every one of their products, and they absolutely kill it. #2 behind them is Organic Valley, right? So this world is really changing. The #1 category for us is, the #1 yogurt, Fayette, right? And I'll get into them in a second. Well, we're not that weird. Cheerios still rules the cereal aisle, right? So I wanted to make you not think we were completely weird. But Cheerios still dominates, and Honey Nut Cheerios kicks some butt. Now I show this because who's succeeding? Out of these 4 brands, the 3 at the top actually invest marketing dollars in us. Fayette does not. They're #1 in their category. They don't believe it. This is a Flintstone who thinks that my phenomenal brand is so great that nobody's going to skew from it. They're wrong, because we keep adding about 10 to 15% new customers every single day on our site, and they're not choosing them. They're choosing the brands that are actually doing something with us. And Fayette, who's gone from #1 by a landslide to now they're about to get past. Probably they'll end up #3 or 4 by the end of this year. That's what's important. This world moves so fast that you have to be ready. You have to anticipate. You have to anticipate your competition. I love this image because I've worked for companies like Kodak, where they're looking in the rearview mirror and thinking, listen, 85 share, I've got nobody in the rearview, look at this, beautiful trees, I'm driving down the road, I've got it made. Problem is, you forget while you're driving down these roads, there's on-ramps, and things are getting on the road with you, but you don't see them in the rearview mirror because they're in your blind spot, and by the way, they're driving a Lamborghini and they're about to punch it and fly right by you. Ask Coke and LaCroix how well that vehicle's driving for them, right? They're in their, I don't want to offend Ford Taurus, but you're in your Ford Taurus and suddenly there comes a Lamborghini flying by. So I'm just going to give you a quick example. Ice cream category. This is, again, thinking about your competition. Ben & Jerry's and Haagen-Dazs, #1 and #2 all the time. They spend money to fight each other. They only care about this brand. Unilever only cares about this brand, and Nestle only cares about that brand. That's all they talk about. None of them talk about that. Can anybody make out that logo? You're not supposed to. This is #1. This is #2. I made it blurry so you can't see it. This is number 17. That's now the #4 brand on our site. They are the most expensive ice cream in the category, but they're also the largest spender in our category. Halo Top says, I think e-commerce is where I'm going to sing. I can't fight for shelf space in retailers. It's way too hard and way too expensive. I can do something with Instacart. I can turn it on within 24 hours, and I can watch it perform on a daily basis. I'm going to see if this works for me. It worked, right? And just was talking to Danny Pham, who's our client at Halo Top, and Danny's basically saying, tell me what else I can do. I'm about to shift all my money away from brick and mortar and do it online. You got to be ready to react, right? It can come at you at 102, 103, depending on how they're throwing it. It can come at you fast. And if you are not paying attention in this world, this space moves fast. For us, we have to pay attention to our retailers. So we have that same mentality about the rearview mirror. We got to pay close attention. Same thing with retailers. If you don't have an e-commerce strategy, you're gonna react. Trader Joe's doesn't have an e-commerce strategy, right? They don't believe in the delivery service. They believe the in-store experience is great. They're gonna soon find out that that's gonna be a challenge for them, because everybody that's ahead of the game, they're gonna have to play catch up to try and convince people. And we see this here I live down the street from Trader Joe's headquarters. I know firsthand that people who used to shop with us on Whole Foods because they're somewhat similar. And by the way, I can stay at home and not have to drive to Pasadena to get it. You have to invest to build your own case study. This is Coke Life, which is like the ugly stepchild in the Coke world. And Coke Life did this beautiful creative on our site, right? She's staring at you and you think, I find Coke Life to be suddenly be delicious. Great, I think I'll click on it. They had a 556% increase. Now the great thing is they said, can you just tell us how the category's working and can you just give me your case study results? Listen, it's so inexpensive to spend against us. Why in the hell don't you just find out what your brand can do? So we sampled 60,000 Coke Life units in San Francisco and LA. In turn, they went up 556%, only sampling in 2 markets, but their share grew that much. So now I'm looking at another 150,000 units of Coke Life that we'll be sampling again. That's the power of you doing something for your own. Now in this space, and this is actually, I think, a screenshot of my clients yelling at me, but in this space, everything is about the data. Right? In the e-commerce world, it's different than the old brick and mortar world. You can get data immediately, and apparently even immediately isn't fast enough. So we have to constantly give our clients other things. We measure new shoppers, market share lift, total sales, how well they're doing by market, breakdown by market. We do a lot of crazy stuff, but it's exactly what moves the needle with my clients. And this is just incredibly important. If you are a brand spending in this space and you're not asking for this, you're doing a half-ass job at doing. Sorry, you're doing a half-ass job doing your e-commerce strategy. If you're just spending blind, you are fooling yourselves and you're being lied to by your partner. Data should be coming your way. You've paid for it. You shouldn't have to pay extra for it. And today's growth is tomorrow's scale. We are 28 markets now. We were 16 markets last year. We're 28 at the end of this year. We'll be 55 to 60 next year. If you're not doing things with us, you're going to have to play catch up with brands that are already doing things with us. As a retailer, you have to play catch up on people being comfortable with you being added to the mix in a city. Like if Trader Joe says, hey, I want to be a part of LA, listen, Gelson, Stater Brothers, Vons, Petco, Costco, Whole Foods, all these brands are already generated loyalty within our audience. You now have to try and convince these people back your way because you haven't been there and they've grown comfortable with what they know they can shop for. This is my last slide. So this is the start of something big, like I mentioned. Does anybody know what that picture is? It's June 9th, 1973, and who said Secretariat? You're right. So that's him right there. Secretariat, not a girl, it's him. This is the Belmont Stakes, June 9th, 1973. He's about to win the Triple Crown. I don't know if you know the story, but he won by 31 lengths. So that earlier picture that's how crowded our space is. This is what we're achieving for. Right, is to really dominate this space. And we think we have a great strategy. We think we have our goals set up to be the leader. And I think that if we stay smart, we'll be able to do that. And we're going to take our retail partners and our CPG partners with us. And that's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dan. It was an amazing presentation. Very inspirational, also a lot of really interesting data on e-commerce strategies and how this can actually really, your platform that you're working with can really help other e-commerce people in that space and help their products become a little bit more competitive and viable in the market, which is really tricky, it seems. We're going to open up to Q&A right now. If you have a question, raise your hand. John will walk around with the mic. If you'd like to share stories and comments and all that stuff, that's great, but let's save it for offline. Dan, will you be hanging out with us a little bit afterwards to interact with people and share stories and all that stuff?
Can you hear me? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, very good. So questions now, comments later. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, great presentation, thanks.
Thank you.
Under the category of be ready to react, are you going to be delivering cannabis products?
You mean me personally to you? The answer is yes, but no. Yeah, no. If they're the way we populate our stores is based on if they're sold at the retailer, then if the retailer wants us to sell them, absolutely. And I'm sure we have an audience that would buy the hell out of it. We do really well with alcohol, so I got to believe cannabis will be a great cross promotion. Yes.
Hi, thanks for the presentation.
Sure.
In the beginning, you said really the target is millennials, right? I am technically a millennial, although I think I'm more of an old school. So I'm wondering, by being able to shop, do your grocery shopping online, have someone else do it for you, how do you as a company not promote a culture of laziness? And is it just opening up more time for them to go do things, or do you guys think about that? Is it even a concern of yours?
You mean the fact that we're having people we're doing the shopping for you, so stay at home and keep eating Funyuns on the couch? Is that what you're talking about?
If you ordered them.
Yeah, and please order a couple. Right, we got a good coupon, 2 for 1. So, we don't. In our world, if you've been to our office, we're very Silicon Valley. We're very forward thinking. Our vision is not that we're creating convenience for you to be lazy. We're creating convenience for you to be more active, to do things that don't drive you crazy with your 2 daughters. To grocery shop, it's like I can get to, right? I CrossFit, so it's a pain in the ass for me to get there because there's only certain windows I'm allowed to get there. It's not an open gym for me to get there anytime I want, 24 hours a day. So for me, I like the fact that, hey, listen, there's a short window I got to get active in, and the fact that I was going to have to fill that with groceries, now I don't. It's a beautiful thing, and that's how we push it. We never say, "Hey, stay right." You're not going to see a commercial with us where somebody lazy eating bonbons on the couch going, "Yeah, we'll be right there." Right? It's we'll bring it to you.
Back again.
Thanks for
Yes.
Doug. Thanks for a great presentation. I spent most of my career in CPG, and I started at Coke. So I get
My apologies.
Yes. Curious. I was working with a lot of startup companies or smaller companies that are trying to move into mass. And one of the great barriers, and you've alluded to it, is the cost of entry, which is the slotting fees, and just all the trade promotions that the retailers expect. And then you've got the inventory build on top of that requires capital. How do you partner with smaller companies who are trying to be, or brands that are trying to be disruptors and get into, wide distribution?
Yeah, and I want to say, I said my apologies. I meant my apologies about my comment on Coke earlier, not you working at Coke, just so we're clear. So I get, every day I probably get 2 or 3 requests from brands that aren't on shelves on retailers saying, can you please put us on your shelf? And the answer is right now, no, I can't do that. What I can do is, we know the CEO at Whole Foods, if you think that's where you are, and we think your brand's compelling, that maybe we can at least introduce you to try and get on shelf. Down the road, I think we may look at the opportunity for small brands. I work with a company called VMG Partners, which is an amazing company out of San Francisco. Really smart group of people who are early investors in brands like Justin's, Pirate Booty, Bear Snacks, Quest Nutrition. These guys are great, where they help brands that are small trying to build scale with really tight marketing budgets. These guys actually help them span up. They've made a smart decision where they partner with us. We go to trade shows with them, and we talk to these smaller brands about how to get them on shelf. In turn, I specifically created programs on our site that can help the small brand, so that Halo Top can compete against Ben & Jerry's and Haagen-Dazs, because it doesn't cost you, right, a $250,000 program to invest. There's certain things that are really expensive with me to do, and the big brands dominate that, but I also made it to where I have the ability to let smaller brands do that. I came from coupons.com, where coupons.com, all they focused on were the top brands. They have no organic channeling. With us, with the fact that we are with Whole Foods and we're with pretty much any major organic player in the space, there's a ton of small brands that start there because that's how this industry is going into, right? Like organic beef jerky and organic dry sodas. Those are a couple of good categories where that stuff is really growing. They're starting on Whole Food shelves or in the organic sections of Targets and other stores, but they just can't get a foothold. And in turn, right, that example of Halo Top is perfect, where they were this tiny, and trust me, number 17 on our list is tiny. But number 4 on our list is, wow, this is a serious issue, to where we now become a major topic of conversation at Halo. Like, this is the catalyst for that. And in turn, we're using that story, and so is Halo is using that story with brands that they know, and we're using it with companies like VMG and others to help brands get there. One other thing you mentioned is the product on shelf. We shop directly from the store shelf. Just want to make sure that everybody's clear. We don't have our own inventory. We have retail partners and we shop off their shelf. So it's a e-commerce transaction, but a brick and mortar pull.
It's 9:30. Normally I stop the Q&A now, but since it's Veterans Day and there's a lot of questions, I'm going to continue. So if anybody has to leave, feel free to leave now, but I'm going to continue Q&A.
Hi, it was very great that getting goods to home. But my question is, like, you work with retailers, right? So already they make some deals with the companies and they build the goods. How is the revenue, like how revenue works for the InstaCart revenue model?
I'm sorry, what the question? I'm sorry, the question is about retailers. What?
You work with retailers, right? So already they are selling the goods. So how InstaCart is making revenue and how they are profitable, how they will be profitable in future. Right now, how they are generating revenue. Just I want to know. Thank you.
All right, we should have stopped the questioning right there. So yeah, I knew that was questions to come up, and I thought it was about to sneak out without having to answer it. So yeah, as you would imagine, I can't tell you what we have, how we make money, but we do it in a couple of ways. And I can tell you enough that we revenue share with retailers. So it's a volume play in terms of what we generate for them. In turn, we get a piece of the action. And in turn, we have other partners where we shop their stores. We don't share in revenue with them, but we mark up product.
So with the retailers, you're disrupting them in that I can now shop at Whole Foods and Ralph's and a couple other, or Costco, right? Isn't that a threat to the retailers, and how do they view that, where you're kind of, as a consumer, I now have, it's a lot easier for me to shop at all three than it would have been before. I would have only gone to Ralph's or only gone to Whole Foods. So how do they view that competition? And secondly, a lot of these retailers, well now, some of them try to do this delivery, like Vaughn's had their delivery, and is that still happening? Is that a competitive threat to you, or do they realize that that's not viable?
Yeah, so the first part of your question is retailers and how they see it as a threat. So the question for them comes down to, why should I do this? And the answer is, because I'll be in trouble if I don't. And I know that's a simple answer, but think about it from a retailer's perspective. If the business is going down this path, it's almost like, think about it when the retailers thought, is e-commerce, is online sales going to even be anything? Well, now they realize we got to change that. Okay, now it looks like online sales and online grocery delivery is becoming a major thing. How do I play there? So the answer is like the Trader Joe's example. It's like, listen, not being there, you're allowing others to possibly take, if your share of grocery shopping for a consumer is, $50 of their monthly spend, and now it's down to $35 of their monthly spend. When enough of your audience converts that way, to where you're losing $15 a shopper, that's going to be a massive hit for a grocer who functions off of very lean margins. They're going to have a really tough time ignoring that customer. So it becomes an issue of, can I afford not to do this because others in the space are, right? And it becomes that big challenge for them of, can I afford this? If 10% of the grocery sales come out of online grocery delivery and you don't do that, you just lost 10% of sales. There is no grocery retailer in the US that would survive if they lost 10% like that. Two competitors.
second part of the question?
Yeah, second part of the question, I'm sorry.
Second part is bonds and others.
Yeah. So we shop at Vons, and we actually mark up their product. We don't do a rev share model with them. So we shop at Vons while you can still shop at Vons. And we do more than they do. So
But I guess my question is, do you see retailers doing deliveries being a competitor to yours?
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Or is that model going to go away? And if it's going to go away, is it because just one retailer can't do it, they don't have the concentration, or why?
Yeah, some retailers, Kroger and Walmart are great examples of those who just don't want to partner with a third party. They want to manage it in-house. Vons is still doing it. Target partnered with us and say, I don't want to do it myself. I want to do a third party because that's not our core value. Do I view them as competitors? Yeah, I do, but I would say they're kind of tier below me, because if nobody's doing online grocery delivery, then I'm not really losing share to those guys. I'm losing share to the likes of a Jet or the likes of a Fresh Direct, a Peapod. Of those are more my competitors. Amazon Fresh, how can I leave those out? So they're more my threat than I just view Kroger and Walmart not working with us as business that can't be had anyway. So they're competitive to a degree because there's shopper dollars are being handled through them. But what I know is I'm not losing it to a competitor. I'm just losing it to a retailer that's never, I didn't really ever lose it. I just was never able to grab it. Hopefully that will change.
Two more questions.
Okay.
Great presentation, thank you, and compelling. I will definitely be checking out Instacart as a consumer. You identify as a sales guy. I'm a sales guy. Could you share one of your favorite stories about bringing in a client or a channel partner, or however you call them, either personally or if it isn't for you as number employee 172? A great story that happened before you got there?
Well, I started the group, so I can't say there was a good story before I got there because there was none. I love the halo top because I'm a sales guy, so I love when I can go to a big brand and they go, we're great. And I say, yeah, well, have you heard of halo top? And I was in the room with Haagen-Dazs, with Unilever. They're like, we care a lot about this, and why did we suddenly lose growth? Well, Halo Top came in and really did a number on you and spent quite a fortune, and now they're the number 4. And to my surprise, a person I deal with who is their digital commerce expert said, who's Halo Top? And I thought, wow, thank God your boss isn't in the room, because you just can't be saying that. How do you not know who Strauss family milk is in terms of ice cream as well, who also spends with us and has moved up the ladder? For me, I love the stories with the small brands the best. The big leaders, right, when I'm in the room with them, it's like, listen, I'm awesome, I drive a lot of volume, you got to give me preferential treatment. And I'm a sales guy, so my answer back is, if you pay for it, sure. But if you don't pay for it, there's these small brands who will flat out gobble it up. And for us, sticking with the ice cream category, we've had such great success with these small brands that it's petrified the hell out of the big brands. So, right, as a salesperson, I get rejected a lot, which is why I got married, so I could avoid it on that side. But from that perspective, I get rejected a lot by these big brands like, please, if I was on your site, you should let me do it for free because I'm going to really help move the volume. Then I get to Strauss and the Halo Tops of the world, great stories like that who've helped build that category. And they've actually helped me open up the eyes of the big players to step up to the plate. Great example is White Wave owns, if you don't know White Wave, they own a lot of great products, including Horizon Organic. They're based out of Colorado. And we've been working with them for over a year just to get them to sign the damn master service agreement, the contract. Like, they want to do stuff with us, and I have 6-8 programs ready to roll, but their legal can't get through it. They're just that dinosaur in just getting through a legal contract. They finally found out that they got killed because when they finally got it, they said, okay, show us our sales results. And they realized that they lost more share than any ice cream brand within the category, including They were the fourth position. They dropped all the way to 11th. They realized that some tiny brands that they had never heard of, like Halo Top and Strauss, had passed them. In turn, they're now the largest spender in the ice cream category for us in 2017, and we've run nothing with them. They just realized that we got killed, we got trampled on, now we got to make up ground. I'm going to spend a lot there. So that's great category, not single story, but kind of a great category story, hopefully. Hopefully it was great.
Last question.
Yeah, when we use your cart, can I put stuff from many different stores on the same cart without having to go and buy it from one store, then move to the next, and then move to the next each and every transaction? And then secondly, if I decide to choose a brand or a product, will you show me who has them available so I can choose where to buy them from?
I'll answer the second one first. So the answer is yes. So if you come to our store and you search Haagen-Dazs, we'll actually tell you what other stores it's available in, right? So you can be sitting in Target shopping. It's here, and all the flavors of Haagen-Dazs available at that Target that you're shopping are available to you. But we'll also say at the bottom, here are all the other retail banners that also sell this same product. Now, to your second question, no. So, and his second question was about when you're shopping, can I shop at Costco and shop at Whole Foods, shop at Vons and put everything in one basket? The answer is no. Think about the way you would shop, right? If you did that, you would have to shop somewhere that's all dry and nothing frozen or refrigerated, and then make the last one everything you buy refrigerated. That's not how grocers shop with us. So you can shop 3 baskets at it. You can shop 8 baskets at a time if you wanted, and you'll have 8 different delivery people show up at your door, delivering you your order from that particular store. The reason being is that we couldn't do that efficiently, where we'd go to Costco, then go to Whole Foods, and go to Vons. Your fruits and vegetables in your refrigerator and frozens would be a mess by the time we got there. So it's single store, single basket, but you can run multiple at the same time. And you'll have different people shopping for you in those stores and different people delivering it to you. It's the right way to do it. You do have to pay a delivery fee for each one, but you'll be pretty damn happy with what shows up in your house, well refrigerated, well frozen.
Thank you so much, guys, for the questions.
Thank you, everybody.